Today on The Reality Pill, we have one of the greatest fighters of all time. He is the jiu-jitsu master and champion of the world. He has more straight consecutive wins, more weight class wins than anybody in history. He's also been honored by the Vatican, and I think single-handedly has changed the way action is done in movies in Hollywood. I would call him a doctor because he's such a master in this field of jiu-jitsu. We have Rigan Machado. Rigan is my brother. He takes care of everybody else as though they were his brother, and we've done some incredible work together. He's trained me, but the main connection we have, you'll see, we help treat people together. Me as the surgeon and Rigan as the trainer and builder of confidence. He's an incredible, incredible man. All right, so for everybody who doesn't know this man, I don't know how you don't know this man, but this is Master Rigan Machado. He is unarguably the greatest jiu-jitsu fighter of all time. Won more championships than anybody ever, for more years than anybody ever, in more classes than anybody ever. And I think you held the title for 14 years straight, 365 or something consecutive fights, and has even received awards from the Vatican for his achievements in training. And he's an amazing teacher. So a lot that goes into jiu-jitsu and I mean all types of martial arts in general is really how good of a teacher you have. And he's recognized as probably the best teacher in history. I don't think anybody ever argues that either. So he flies all over the place, and he's a big, huge, giant guy, but he's the nicest, sweetest teddy bear to ever walk the earth.
You're the best.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the differences between jiu-jitsu and hapkido and capoeira and different things, but where did jiu-jitsu come from?
Jiu-jitsu, we call the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, because I have so many different jiu-jitsu. I have Japanese jiu-jitsu, and the Brazilian jiu-jitsu is concentrated most on the ground. It's like a ground fight. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a chess game you play or find the submission, or find the neck, or find the arm, or submit legs. It's a way you try to play the chess game to find the submission on the ground. That's what Brazilian jiu-jitsu is, like ground fight.
And where was it developed? Because I know capoeira, for example, which is also from Brazil, they developed mostly in like the north of Brazil in the days of the slavery, because they were trying to teach each other how to fight, but they put it into a dance so the slave owners wouldn't realize that they're training to fight. Where did jiu-jitsu come from?
Brazilian jiu-jitsu came from Brazil. The first Grace generation, Carlos Grace, Harold Grace, Gastão, George, and learned through Maeda Coleman, the Japanese, who was immigrants in Brazil. And when they done the jiu-jitsu, they kind of focused most on the ground. And that's what the ground exploded in Brazil, because it started getting very popular. And a lot of people start doing, they create a sport competition like judo, like you feel a lot of points under the ground floor, and the competition started getting very popular and started spread all over Brazil. Now it's spread all over the world in over 260 countries. And the UFC helped to explode because of the success of the first Grace winning the first two UFCs helped to popularize the sport. The sport exploded everywhere.
So before, when UFC started, I think the fighters had a bunch of different techniques: karate, taekwondo, boxing, kickboxing, kind of mixed. And the jiu-jitsu fighters seemed to be winning everything, because as soon as they get a hold of you.
What happened, Carlos Grace, Harold Grace, the first generation believed, like when you take the fight end up on the ground, like 90% of the fights, in case you let the fight keep going, the fight end up on the ground. And the person on the ground who know the best, know the submissions, the chokes, have a chance to submit your opponent. And it based like in Brazil, Carlos figured out the only way he's going to prove the value of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to fight, to really put in a fight, to people see how good and important in a fight grappling is. That's the same happened in UFC. When the Warren Grace come out with the UFC, it was the same idea what happened to Brazil, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu start fighting all kinds of different styles. The goal of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters is to take the fight to the ground, to submit the opponent. And that's what the first generation of races start doing. Start challenge other competitors, other styles. Like a smaller guy fight against bigger guy, and they start have the opportunity to take the fight to the ground and shoot in the open.
And this was popularized by one big family, which is a bunch of cousins called the Gracies and the Machados, right?
The families started, the first generation was Carlos, Gracie, Harry Gracie, George, Gaston. They were the first group to build the sport. And most like Carlos and Harry was the major pioneers in the sport in the world. And, Carlos was the older brother, and was the youngest brother. And helped to push to the next level. I think he had this unique style. He defended himself so well. And when he go to the ground, his defense was so good. He brought a new style for jiu-jitsu. I think Harry Gracie changed a lot of the jiu-jitsu. At the time, he brought a new style. Like he know how to use it. He basically like he have this culture. Doesn't matter who I fight, he can compete or he can apply it to me. I'm going to be able to apply it on him. And that's why he create fights like no limit, because he fight guys twice this size. He go to the ground and the guy can do anything to him. Okay, now it's my time to go to meet you.
Right. It must be very frustrating for other fighters to fight somebody who's really good on the ground, really good at grappling, because once they get a hold of you, fight's over.
It's like I have a philosophy, like in the ocean, the shark, you jump in the ocean, the shark is going to eat you. In jiu-jitsu, you step on the ground, the jiu-jitsu guy is going to be the shark. He's going to eat you. You know what I mean? And that's basically how the jiu-jitsu guys think. Oh, on the ground is my ocean. I'm the shark.
The thing that really impresses me about jiu-jitsu is people become addicted to it. But the thing that I've heard so many people say is they compare it to chess. There's a lot of strategy involved. And they also say it's one of the most peaceful, less violent types of fighting, because you're not really striking opponents very much. And on top of that, if you really have the ability to end a fight if you're somewhere in public.
It's like gentle art, like something we call the art, like a mathematical style, like which you use the angles and the math, the angles to create the submission. The base is not how strong, how master you are. It's how well we play the chess game. And I think like Harry Gracie is a big proof that he was a smaller guy. He weighed 145 pounds, 100, and he fight guys like 300 pounds, and he able to beat the guys in the fight. Carlos Gracie, I never had a chance to talk to him, and he was explained to me. It's almost like I fight an elephant. Like when you fight somebody stronger, you have to put a lot of movements. Because he's not going to be able to follow you because he don't understand how to move on the ground. You're going to end up find the right angle to choke or to do the submission.
And you've told me too that there have been times where really, really big guys have tried to challenge you, not in the ring, but in public, where you're out. And
I have some problems in the beginning. I remember because Harry Gracie created, before the UFC, he created a challenge, the Gracie Challenge. I remember like he set up a bet. Oh, I put $100,000 against you, 10,000, something like that. And for some reason, when they opened my school on the San Fernando Valley in Encino, a lot of people started showing up to challenge me because I was the cousin. And I remember coming bodybuilders, kickboxers, wrestlers, and they want to test you. I want to see how good you are. They basically said, let's fight here, grapple a little bit. Some guys really want to fight. It was the evolution. In the beginning, people didn't know what real jiu-jitsu was about. After the UFC, people start realizing, wait a minute, what's that? And when you see a small guy, skinny guy like Horace able to submit guys like big guys was amazing. When people start like, wow, I wanna learn this new grappling stuff. It's kind of yes.
And what about for the non-fighters? You're very well known for teaching a lot of actors and actresses to
Yes.
fight. Once they get into it, what have you noticed in changes in their discipline?
I'm gonna explain what happened to me. For me, what was amazing, I was an athlete all my life, champion, world champion this, world champion that. And I used to be a coach for each guys to be like me, like to be a champion, to fight. But what happened to me when the open school in Beverly Hills, things changed because I started getting students like actor who the insurance or something, the guys, he can get a scratch on the face. Mm-hmm. And I started like, how? It's not like a ballet or like depending on the sport. It's like lateral sport, like grappling, it's like wrestling, like judo, like jiu-jitsu. It's something you have to grapple to be good. You have to spar. And I start thinking about like how can I figure out to find a way to teach this kind of students, because I believe it's not a bad student, it's a bad coaches. And I have to recreate myself to create the idea to start coach people very safe, in a safe environment, in a way like no chance to get the scratch on the face. And basically I did a breakdown. The first breakdown I did, the first thing I do, I teach them knowledge. I come here and show him the techniques. They say, hey, that's the techniques, that's the sweep you're going to do, or that's the armbar, or the escape. And I show him. After this, what I do, I kind of put him to do drills, repetition, in body movements, in ways for he start teaching his body to remember the techniques, to create the reflex. You know what I mean? Because jiu-jitsu, one of the things, you don't have time to think, you have to do it. When you fight somebody, you're going to have to do it. When they attack you, you're going to have to do it. The techniques it's a reflection relationship you have to have. In the third one, I add the training of the celebrities. I do a technical training. A technical training is that I do the whole sparring. I break down sparring in pieces, like a pizza pie. Uh-huh. And one day I focus on, you're only going to do escapes. I'm going to put the guy over here. You're going to try attack. You're going to learn how to defend and escape. And like these, I get super good. Okay, now you escape. Now you have to go attack him. And now let's work just attack. And based when they start breaking down like this, I can control the environment to do in a way he don't get hurt. The chance to get hurt is not as much. Mm-hmm. When they go to the next level, which is super important, the most important one is the sparring, I get a real high-level advanced guy to train with me. I get a guy who go very technical. He do a sparring. He do a sparring very safe. Like this, he don't go high-level explosion, which the chances for one of these guys to get hurt is beginning. Like when they don't know the techniques yet, they use the explosion, the muscle. Sounds like they sprint, they use too much power and have the battle of conquer. I'm not going to attack. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And as they're going through this and they're kind of getting more and more, do you see their personality start to change at all in some of these people?
Yes. What I'm very good. I have opportunity to teach over 10,000 people. I did teach all my life. I have just to do close to over 700 seminars around the world. Almost over 100 countries. I've been traveling for the last 35 years doing seminars. And what the thing I learned by coaching is almost like when I look at the student, I want to look at his mind first. And I look at his mind. And the key for me is to start here on the mind, to work his strength, to understand how to. Sounds like he has a lot of things. I want to get everything, get one line of focus. I want to teach him how to focus. And sometimes when they coach the student, the second thing I see is to see his mental condition, mental will. Like example, okay, let's go to this drill. Sometimes they should, I'm tired, this and that, and realize now we have to exercise this muscle here. And the third thing is to do in a way they fall in love, they like it, what they do. They have fun, they have a great time because they don't like what they're doing. You go too hard, you don't make fun, the entertainment for them, they're gonna lose their interest.
Yeah, but it seems like
E,
a lot of people, it's very easy to fall in love with. And
yes,
I'd say most people, when they get into it, whether it's for physical fitness or for the challenge, again, like playing a game of chess or to learn to defend themselves, for whatever reason, they fall in love with
Doc,
it.
do you know what I tell the students in the beginning? I say, my brother, you outside the mat, you my friend, I love you, we hang out. But the moment you cross the line and you step on the mat, I'm not your friend anymore. I'm your coach. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? I'm your teacher. I'm your master because
I'm your master.
I will kick your butt on the mat. Yeah. I think it's very important to create this trust relationship between the coach and the student because that trust is very important. The confidence the student have to get from the coach is the secret to get the student to any level he's looking for to get. And I tell them like use these things you learn inside the mat for outside the mat. You know what I mean? Because when you to be good in something, you have to put your will to get the consistency, the accomplishment. You have to get the discipline. You have to learn the respect. You have to because I tell the students, leave your ego outside.
Right.
But over here, I'm the general, and you the soldier, and that kind of respect is very important because the respect between instructor and students in my community is very important.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
I think a very nice representation, actually, I saw on TV was there's a TV show called Billions. So I don't know if you've seen it, but the district attorney or the attorney general or whatever he is in that show.
It's a good show.
It's an amazing show. Yeah.
Because it's funny because I have one of my best friends, Frank Grillo.
Yeah.
He is doing the film of the show in New York. He had a great time. He's filming, I think, one season.
Yeah, it's an amazing show. It's an amazing show. And the main actor, which is, I think his name is Paul Giamatti, he takes jiu-jitsu.
I love him.
He's amazing.
Love him.
Yeah,
he does jiu-jitsu?
He's doing jiu-jitsu in the show. And he is that kind of person. Everything he does is tactical and about focus and determination and really making your opponent submit.
It's pretty simple. Like, I remember Carlos Reis, the founder of the sport, he used to people don't know, but he was a doctor. He was a nutritionist. He was a philosopher. He was one businessman. He was, I know one time, I live in his house, and he created in the ceiling of the house. He climbed, and he had this door, he opened to go in the ceiling, and he created a library of books. And he had close to over 3,000 books about everything, about philosophy, about the medicine, about all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And he read every day for 5-6 hours of study. He stay over there in the environment of his study at least like 6-7 hours every day. And he was so smart. He was so amazing guy. I remember he always created a challenge for himself.
Yeah, the best fighters are really super strategic, and I think that's an amazing part of it. And I think it does help a lot of people with their confidence. And the way that we met initially, for people who don't know, is we were introduced by a friend of ours, Lorenzo.
Yeah, Lorenzo.
Laurent. Yeah, he just texted me yesterday, actually. I love
him. One of the nicest guy. I love the guy. He's... What a pleasure to be his friend.
He's amazing, and it's sad. I haven't seen him for a while, so I'll call him right after this. But he introduced us because he said, you have to meet my friend Rigan. He's incredible. And I had heard of your name before, and we meet up. And the whole point of our initial meeting was there was a kid who grew up with a big giant birthmark on his face, and his lip was out to here from the side.
I know. It's all deformed.
And they used to call him Strawberry Face, and Strawberry Face, Fish Lip, all these things. And the first time I saw him and I met him and started talking to him, you couldn't get one word out of this kid. He just wouldn't talk. He was so introverted, and this happens a lot with kids with birthmarks. Then we thought, okay, you know what? Why don't we work on this kid together? And I'll do the surgery, and then you start working with him to make him a little tougher, a little more proud and confident, because he's such a shy kid from being teased his whole life. So the second he met Rigan, his eyes like lit up. He was so excited, and he starts getting into MMA, and now he's and jiu-jitsu, and now he's with his idol, who's everybody else's idol. Rigan Machado. Everybody idolizes him in the world of jiu-jitsu, and this kid is so proud to say that Rigan is, I know him. He's my teacher. And a year later, 2 years later, we take him to your jiu-jitsu tournament in San Diego, and he's talking. He has a girlfriend now. He looks good. He's just got confidence. He's funny. He makes jokes, and we couldn't get one word out of this kid before. And it's really incredible what it's done. And he's continued now. He's still doing it where he lives. And I saw him probably about half a year ago or so. He's got a very serious girlfriend now, and he's going to be applying to college. And it's incredible what he did.
Do you have the picture of him today? Because I remember him. Sent to me later because I'm so curious to see how he looked today. Because I remember when I met him, you have the defect on the face, but I don't remember him today. I love to see how he looked today.
He's a man now. He's not a kid anymore.
Yeah. How old is he now? You know?
Now I think he's 20 now. So this was him.
Oh shit.
Remember? Yeah. So he's a little bit younger there. Remember how big that lip was?
Yeah.
And the birthmark was everywhere. Yeah, so we did all of that.
Let me ask one thing here. Your reputation is considered to be one of the best plastic surgeons in the world on the facial. It's like everybody talk about you. Where this come from, this discipline, how you end up be one of the best plastic surgeons that he was. Tell me a little bit about, because I'm curious to know about you too.
Yeah,
how you become so good?
Yeah, it's kind of my personality since I was a kid is that I love to work with my hands. I love building things. I love creating things. You're asking about like why I'm cooking so much. It's because I have to like make new things and keep changing things. And I've always been like that, to the point where even in medical school, I went and we were doing a rotation where we go to court and we talk to a forensic psychiatrist. And he told me, Ben, why don't you tell me about your life? I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, why don't you tell me about your history? I go, chronological order? Okay, so I was born in San Jose. I grew up playing piano, trombone. I was doing taekwondo from when I was like 8 years old. I started doing dance class. I was a piano teacher once I was 12. I started writing, composing music. Then I started skiing, water skiing, racing. I was a private investigator. I used to teach this. I used to do a pet shelter. I worked at Guest, the store. And so I tell him all these things. And the guy says, Ben, my friend, I don't think you're ever going to be happy. I don't think. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, this is a typical character trait when you jump from one thing to another thing and to another thing. I don't think you're ever going to be happy. And I try to explain. I said, no. I go, I actually stick with everything I do. I just love doing so many different things. I keep doing it. He goes, well, we agree to disagree. So, he thought I was crazy, but my whole life I've been like that, where I like to do things and be good at it. And even when I was a private investigator, like I was a private investigator for like 2 years, because I graduated college early. So I had 2 years to do whatever I wanted, and I went and traveled. And even with private investigating, I was told by, my cousin who ran the firm that I was the best PI he'd ever had. And it's because once I get into it, I start thinking, okay, how can I do this better? How can I make sure I'm following somebody and I never lose them? And how can I sneak into the gym and do this? And so I become obsessed with things and just getting better at it. And if it's something technical, like with my hands, then I go crazy. And so for surgery, to be good as a surgeon, you can't just go to a good med school or go to a good training program. You have to do those things, but you also have to be able to see things, and you have to be very open to learn things. And you have to have been lucky enough to really see who the best is, because it's very hard even as a doctor to know who the best surgeons are. So I got very lucky that I trained with the best surgeons. Then I kept training. Then I trained again. I did a lot of work. When I was in residency, I was working night shifts at Columbia University, and at daytime, I would be next to Cornell doing plastic surgery. So I busted my ass, kept trying to get good at it, kept rotating with the other doctors, the doctors where they say you're not part of their department. I would go operate with those guys. Then when I moved back to LA, I started working 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. I just kept going. So then you need experience. So I got lucky that I got busy within about a couple of months in LA, and I had a full practice. And when you put all those things together, that's how I got good at actually operating. And it's harder to be good at surgery than anything else I've ever done. So especially like rhinoplasty and those kind of things.
What's your specialty? What you consider to be the best?
So I'm a facial plastic surgeon. So I do plastic surgery and reconstruction just of the face. But like that kid we worked on, I'm also a birthmark specialist. I just don't do that much anymore because I'm so busy doing facelifts, lip lifts, nose jobs, eyes, brows, that kind of stuff that I don't really see those patients anymore. They go to other people now because it's not what I'm known for.
I have a question here. Nose. You're very good at the nose too.
Yeah.
The nose. Yeah.
I'm a revision specialist. So in the world of rhinoplasty and noses, you've got primaries, which means they've never been touched before. And those always have a chance of needing a revision, having to be fixed.
You know what's crazy? I was talking to a brother of mine about you. And I was talking about, thinking about to set up a time to do my neck. Because my neck is so big. And I have this thing on my neck, this pop. You know what I mean? Which,
me too.
I said, man, I want Dr. Bain to take this because I hate that.
Yeah.
My neck is very strong, but this is something I don't know how to take it off. It's not just a workout, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've always had a strong neck. I've actually got this picture of you. Where is this thing? There you go. I got it. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. So even back then, you had a super strong neck. And
no, man, I'm gonna tell. It's funny because the strongest part of my body when I work out is my neck.
Yeah,
my neck is. It's funny because I try to buy a t-shirt, a suit, because I have to go to Italy because I get an award to be a knight. And the guy said you have to have a black suit. These gave me the things I gotta do for go to the Vatican to get these nomination to be a knight.
So can you repeat that for everybody, that you're invited by the Pope to go to the Vatican?
No, it's not the Pope. It's
the Vatican Guard?
They have an organization who nominate you. The people, they have places. In the place I was picked to be nominated to be a knight is in the Vatican. And the soldiers come and they do the ceremony, and you come a knight for the organization. You know what I mean? But I was choose to be a Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny because they change your status. People's not going to call me Rigan, or they call me Sir Machado, or something like that. Or your passport change, because it sounds like you have this order of change. When you come a knight, it's not just Rigan. Now it's Machado.
So now you're Sir Master.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be cool to. When it's kind of nice, but for things like that for me is a privilege to be honored. You know, all the life achievement awards, all the recognition you get to be an athlete. I have almost 20 Hall of Fames. I have 4 different life achievement awards, all kind of awards like that, and it's kind of nice. It's not like I care as much because I don't even know what sometimes mean.
Yeah.
But it's appreciation, because when you retire, you see people still appreciate the work you did as an athlete, as a teacher.
Yeah.
And for me, it's kind of nice. You know?
And I don't think it's done now. I think you're going to keep getting awards because you keep teaching.
Yeah. I love teaching, but I love to teach it. I have phase. I used to love to teach people to compete, to be a champion. That's what I love to get from zero to make that guys a world-class athlete, become a world champion. That's an amazing feeling when you have the tools to make that happen. But today, my biggest pleasure is to teach people to be a better person, to be a good, strong in the mind, to get them to get the discipline, to get them to refocus in life. It's like, say, another day I sit down with Jean-Jacques, my brother, and we're talking about what a real teacher is in jiu-jitsu. It's not just to come and teach the techniques, but you're able to get the tools and to get the person to be a better person. That's when we realize you're a good teacher. You're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu teacher. When you use the tools you have to make that person better. Same like you. You as a plastic surgeon, the person come to you, when you work with them, you help them to get the confidence back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what's amazing, so I don't think people understand how hard it is to be a good teacher. It's really difficult in anything. And you've taught me, and I've come to you, and I recognized it right away because you make it very easy to make the moves, to learn, to repeat. And it's not so easy. Somebody can be incredible at doing something, but not at teaching somebody else to do it. And I'm a good example of that. I'm not a great teacher. I'm an okay teacher. I have a lot to say. I have a lot to talk about. So if somebody's good at absorbing information, it's nice to be around me. But I don't have,
100%.
yeah, but I don't have the ability, I don't have the patience to do what you do. Because if somebody comes and wants to watch me operate, they can watch all day. I would be the worst person to ever work in as part of an academic residency and watch another doctor operate. I would lose my mind. I'm so controlling, and I'm not good at explaining myself sometimes. So being a good teacher is extremely, extremely difficult. And it makes you stand out a lot from any other kind of teacher, not just in martial arts world.
In Brazil, I have the opportunity to meet Pitangui. You know Pitangui in Brazil?
Yeah, the most famous surgeon in the history of the world.
I met him, I met his son. They have an island in Brazil.
It's nice. You know, it's nice to have an island. I've heard of it.
They own an island, and I have opportunity to meet them. He's very old now. I remember I met him a while back. I remember I was talking to. He's considered to be this phenomenal plastic surgeon.
Yes, phenomenal.
I didn't know Brazil is considered is a good place for plastic surgery. Tell me about that.
It is.
I didn't. Why is that?
It is, and it's plastic surgery has been accepted in Brazil for a long time now. Just like in the United States, people come around to accepting it as part of like a social norm, whereas you go to countries like Germany, they don't accept it. In addition, then you have teachers like Pitangui who they changed the way plastic surgery is done, and everybody looks to Brazil, especially with Pitangui, as far as like an area where all the newest, best stuff was coming from. The focus now has kind of shifted more to United States, and then everybody in the world is sharing now, but it was respected a lot for that, and especially for him. And he made so many changes and so many surgeries that his name is all over the place. So you have like a ligament for him in the nose, you have a facelift line for him that we use every day. So he really, really contributed a lot, and the level of success he had is insane. So he's got an island. To give you like an example of a comparison, I have a swimming pool. So that's the difference. But he really contributed a lot, and everybody respects him. And now his son and his nephew are also operating in Brazil and still doing great things. But he was considered one of the best teachers also. So I guess all the good teachers come from Brazil.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
that's where you're all from.
No, it's interesting because I didn't have no idea. When I was in Brazil, I remember the people we met, and my friend was explaining how good Brazil is in plastic surgery. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought the USA is the number one place in the world. But I said, no, Brazil have a big reputation of plastic surgery.
Yeah. And the other thing I was thinking about as far as like really making an effect in the world, jiu-jitsu, like, so capoeira is, I think, where a lot of breakdancing moves came from. Okay. So if you watch breakdancing, breakdancing, most of the moves are actually from capoeira. The jiu-jitsu has had such an effect on movies now where it's completely changed fight scenes and made everything so much more badass. So that now there's no movie producer in existence that doesn't try to use jiu-jitsu in their movies. If you look at all the moves that are made, especially obviously the one that you were in recently, John Wick, I've never seen a movie that's a fight scene from beginning to end. John Wick? It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. My friend hadn't seen it. So, you know Dove. So Dove from Sushia, he hadn't seen it. And we sat him down before this whole Corona stuff started. And we were watching John Wick. And I showed him this fight scenes. He goes, oh my God, I've never seen such incredible fight scenes. And I said, well, that's because Rigan was a part of this. It's changed everything.
For me, the truth, I never liked the Hollywood business. I didn't like the people in the business. I think people talk too much. My word is very simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of ego, you know what I mean? But my love comes for the movies through my father. My father, the relationship sometimes for fun. I was one of the kids he liked to bring to watch movies with him. Mm-hmm. He loved Paul Newman, he loved Charlie Bronson, Clint Eastwood, you know what I mean? That kind of generation, what happened to me, I fall in love to the actors. I love East, I love John Jones, I love these guys growing up, watching them with my father. When they came to the United States, I come very close to Chuck Norris. And Chuck Norris started like little by little, hey, I'm going to do Texas Ranger, help me here to do fight scene for the movie, do some jiu-jitsu. I said, sure. And he put us to do one episode with Texas Ranger, all the brothers and stuff. It was super cool. And Chuck Norris was so sweet to us. And little by little, we start get people call us to have opportunity to Steve Seagal call us to work in the Siege Show. And my brother John did a fight scene with him.
Yeah.
We did the choreography. He was so sweet to us, to me and my brothers. And after this, little by little, when they opened that academy in Beverly Hills, with Ashton Kutcher, he was one of my first students in Beverly Hills, an actor. And basically,
and he became addicted to it too, no? I mean, it seemed like
he's a brown belt. He's a brown belt in position.
Brown belt, that's impressive.
Yeah, he's really good. My relationship was I became friends of Paul Walker. And Paul Walker brought me to work with him in Fast and Furious 5. And I met Van Diesel. And little by little, Van Diesel did something to me who changed my life in the industry of Hollywood. I remember he came to me and he did a video. He got his cell phone. He did the video. He put me next to him with the video. And he started talking about I helped with the fight scene, Fast and Furious, and Walker. And he put in his Facebook and have thousands and thousands of people in Brazil, people from all over call me. He didn't understand why. Later, his assistant couple, hey, Diesel put you in his Facebook.
And this is when you knew nothing about social media, because I remember when you started Instagram, it wasn't that long ago.
Yes. And what happened in his Facebook, over 100 million people follow me. It's not like I got a phone call from a friend of mine, a guy I knew in the past, chat, who owned a company called 8711, which is designing action films. He was directing Keanu to do John Wick. Yeah. And he called me to go to 87 to start talking about John Wick, to do what I think about Keanu, how we can make him look better. And he's already good in judo. He's a black belt in judo. He do a lot of the throws and stuff like that.
People don't realize this about Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he's amazing because he did the 300, the actions for the battles in 300. He did some of the biggest action films in Hollywood, from Captain America, second unit director. But that was his first baby to become a director. Was Chad and David. They want to do John Wick. When they come to see Keanu, they talking about we want to use Keanu most of the fight scenes, like 9%. Yeah. Same like Tom Cruise. We want to see him. We want to see him doing the techniques. In base, he trained for almost 6 months before the film. And he's doing jiu-jitsu, this throughout 1 hour, an hour and a half a day, practice the drills, movements. And after this,
lots of work, right?
Yeah, he did a lot of work, fitness training, driving cars, shooting every single day for 6 months. And when it came to shoot the scenes for the movie, he did 9% of this stuff.
Yeah, and that's great because it does make the scenes so much better when they don't have to have a stunt actor in there and edit out every single part of the scene where you'd be able to see his face.
The guy who directed the film, Chad, and the other one, Dave, is the best in the business. I've never seen guys who have a vision to change the way they do the fight scenes, the way they film. They, for me, is the best, the black belts on action films, designing action. Yeah. For me, it was good because this opened a door. I started becoming a white belt and learning from these guys. And little by little, I want to learn how to do it. I want to learn how to do first the fight scenes. I want to learn how to put almost like the choreography together. After this, to understand how to film, how to do the editing, how to become a stunt coordinator. I finished my first movie as a stunt coordinator.
Really?
And now I get offered to do 2 or 3 more. Now I stand up like little by little. try come better and better to one day be able to do big action films.
I can't
It's
wait.
amazing. It's amazing because
I want you to be very successful so you can invite me to all of that.
we'll go to the premieres together.
Yeah. Somebody wants to. So I have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
The first one is, when did you start jiu-jitsu?
I started jiu-jitsu when I was 5 years old.
5 years old. Jesus. Wow. I think 5 years old, I was just learning to not like piss my pants. So, Dr. Ritu Chopra, who is one of your old students, he's an amazing plastic surgeon. He wants to know if you think Rickson was the best fighter ever.
Rickson, for me, was my mentor and my coach. When I fight in Rickson one time, was the best fight of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But Rickson, when I have opportunity to train with him, my coach was a guy named Carlos Gracie Jr. And Carlos Gracie Jr. used to bring me to Rickson. And Rickson used to teach me, Jacques, a few of my brothers at the time, like twice a week. We would go to his academy to do training. And I remember Rickson, he's very good in details. He's very, it's like saying like you, on the sport jiu-jitsu, his details change the game.
Mm-hmm.
Help you to become a high-level technician on the sport. And I have the opportunity to have so many classes with Rickson in his prime as a fighter, as a teacher. And I think Rickson, for me, at the time I used to train jiu-jitsu, was one of the top jiu-jitsu competitors.
Yeah.
But you know who I really loved to was one that athlete before Rickson, he died.
Who was that?
Was Horse Grace.
Okay.
Horse Grace for me is another fighter. I used to admire him so much. He was a phenomenal fighter. I have the opportunity to see him fight. I learned a lot from Horse Grace. And I felt it was great.
Oh, that's great. So right now we're coming up on time. I wanted to also use you very soon for getting you involved with the domestic violence charity that we work with, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And I mentioned it to you before, but now that I have time to try to organize.
Yeah, let's organize. Whatever I can do is be my pleasure.
Yeah, awesome.
Anything you do, don't need, just tell me, come, I'll be there.
Awesome. I appreciate it. All right. So this is Rigan Machado. Again, for those of you who missed the beginning, he is the reason much of the world has seen jiu-jitsu and appreciates it is because of this man. And he's taught so many people. It's incredible. And I've never seen anybody achieve this much in any field, not surgery, not sports. The amount of awards he has is just insane. The amount of wins he has is insane. So, as Dr. Chopra says, you are a legend. But thanks for hanging out and teaching everybody what you do. And I'll have this on the Reality Pill podcast soon so everybody else can learn more about it and come to your page and learn more too. All right. Thank you so much again. Master Rigan.